everybody all over the world. I'm happy to be here again on this our channel, Read and Understand the Bible. My name is Olufisoye. If you are following us on the series of our Bible understanding we are explaining, today you will know we have to cover the Bible of Genesis from chapter 12. Today we will cover chapter 12, chapter 13, chapter 14. There was a question I left which was about why would Noah curse Canaan? So today that question will be part of what today's video will explain. You know how I used to do it. I will explain the history that was recorded today. When humans started to spread abroad, God continued looking at human from heaven to see whose hearts are complete towards him. And God saw a man. His name was Abraham, Terah. God told him to leave the house of his father, to move out of that country and move to somewhere else where he wants to give to him and his generation after him. Abraham had a wife called Sarai. Abraham had his brother's son who was Lot along with him and the rest of other people who are of his. So they move out. When they get to the land of Canaan, God showed Abraham that this land I'm going to give to you and your descendants. People were living there when he got there. At some time in that land, there was a famine. So Abraham had to leave that land and move to Egypt. Something happened when he was at Egypt. I won't mention that because I want you to read your Bible too. Then later, he left Egypt and returned back to that land. When he returned, there was an issue between Abraham's shepherds and Lot's shepherd. So this was the reason why the two of them have to start living separately. You can also read about that issue. There was a time where Lot was being attacked, while some kings were warring against each other. Lot and his people was taken in exile. Abraham heard of this news. He gathered his men. He ran after these people, these kings, with their trained men. He fought them. He conquered. He had Lot and his people released. And most of the goods these men were taking, he brought them back. When he returned, in fact, if you were living in that day, that was the very day you will have another respect for Abraham. I don't want to explain everything in full detail, but please, you can read of everything if you read for yourself. Genesis chapter 12, chapter 13, chapter 14. Now the point we want to get in this is this. God promised Abraham the land of Canaan. Abraham lived in the land of Canaan as alien resident. Abraham had men who can fight war. Why is it that God did not give that land to Abraham? At first, you know what, as human, what we can just think of. God can just give Abraham the same support he gave to him, which he used to have Lot being freed. So he can use the same support with his men to force people living in Canaan, and the land belongs to him. But God did not do that. Now, don't forget the question we brought to today's video, which was, why did Noah curse Canaan? In actual sense, Noah did not curse Canaan. Because if you look at that account at Genesis chapter 9, from verse 24 downward, you will see that nothing was recorded down to show that there is something Canaan did whereby Noah have to curse him. But when you see this kind of expression in the Bible, they were just like expressions I had explained in few of the released videos. Let me remind you two from them. At Genesis chapter 3, I mentioned that God did not cause man, even though the place said God caused man, but rather God put man on a new course of life. Also, at Genesis chapter 5, the place mentioned that God took Enoch. There I explained that no, God did not take Enoch. Enoch died. People living in Enoch day wonder why such a righteous Enoch will die very young. So the expression was used for Enoch that God took him. So the same thing happens here. Noah did not cause Canaan. The land which was to be given to Abraham was the land of Canaan. If you note while I was explaining earlier, I keep mentioning Canaan, Canaan, Canaan. So the land was the land of the Canaanites. Now, when Moses was putting together this record and reading it to people, he was reading to the descendants of Abraham who were later Israel. And these same people, he read them to. And these same people, he has read to that Canaan was also a descendant of their great-grandfather, Noah. So Canaan was also like brothers to Israel. So now, how would people whom you read to, they should not kill? How would people whom you read to, that Canaan is their brother, how will you say to them that they have to go now to the land of Canaan and conquer the land and take possession of it, when this relates to war, lives being claimed, and their property being taken for yourself? So Moses wrote, Noah caused Canaan, that slaves he shall be to his brethren. So Noah did not cause Canaan, but because Israel have to go and take the possession of the land as promised to them by their God. So they have to see them as a cursed people whose possession have to belong to Israel, because that is the land God promised their forefather Abraham that they are going to take possession of as inheritance. So I think today's video I've answered the question that why did Noah cause Canaan? Because if you read that record, you will see that there is nothing being written there as to the reason whereby Noah had to curse Canaan. In today's video, I've also left a question that why was it that God did not give the land to Abraham at first? Don't worry, when we continue the reading, we'll get to that fact too. Because there is another future Bible chapter that explains the reason why God did not give the land to Abraham in the first place. So please, always read your Bible. You know, I did not explain everything in full details because I want you to read it yourself and get the exact information that is there. So thank you for watching. I'll see you next time when we continue from Genesis.